Welcome to the Sam and Billie Show.
Brought to you by Crowd Network.
Obviously, you've got someone there to help you.
Paul, yeah, he's in there.
I was going to say, the juggle is real.
No, I said before you have to stay at home today. I said, it's
Yeah.
the first time we've done podcast in like 7 weeks. I said, I need you to be on hand with the baby. He was like, yeah, it's fine. It's good. Welcome back.
Welcome back. It feels so good to be back.
I know, and so much has happened. Obviously, I'm now mother of 3. Billy's pregnant. There is just so much to get through. Last time you guys see us I was about to pop, wasn't I? I think it was about a week before I had the baby, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really, really close to when you had him.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
And
How quick has that gone as well?
This Friday coming, he's going to be 8 weeks, 2 months.
Why does time go
It's just
so quick?
where? I don't know. And I feel like the first kind of, well, I didn't leave. Oh, do you know what? There's so much to talk about. It's like verbal diarrhea.
Let's take it from the top. Let's take it from the
top.
From the night before.
So in today's episode, we're going to focus a little bit more on the home birth because I know that you guys want to hear all about it. I'll try and not miss anything out. We're going to do another episode dedicated just to Billy for her pregnancy. Billy's like, but I know that I've got so many questions for you as well, and people are probably dying to know. So obviously I'm chatting more to the listeners here because Billy sort of lived the whole thing with me. But let's take it from the top. So on his actual due date, which was the 12th of May, Paul and I was watching Arsenal, as you do, on the telly, and my waters broke. And I rang Billy and Mum straight away. The weirdest thing, so with Paul and Rosie, I don't know, did that happen with you, Nelly and Arthur? My waters didn't actually break.
No, they didn't.
They broke in labour.
In labour, same.
Yeah, so I was just sitting there watching telly, not a niggle, no pains, no contractions, nothing. All of a sudden, this like gush of water sort of jumped up, and I was like, oh. Paul's like, what's happened? And as I jumped up, like more came out. And I went, my waters have broke. But it was weird because that hadn't happened to me before, so I just wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt or anything. It was just like this pop. Anyway, first thing was just hilarious. Paul was just like flapping. He just didn't know what to do. He was like, right, okay, like what should I do? What should I do? I was like, it's fine. Let's just calm down. I was like, I'm going to call the midwife, see what she says, call Billy and Mum. Because obviously where Billy, Mum and Gaynor, they're in Essex. It's going to take them a good hour to get over. So I was like, I need to give them plenty of time to make sure they can get to me on time for the labour. Because you just don't know how quick it's going to happen,
All around
do you?
those days, I didn't sleep for weeks. We all thought, because Rosie and Paul had come quite a few days early from your due date, we all thought that this baby was definitely going to come early. But he actually didn't.
No, he came on time.
On time. And I think for those days leading up to when you had him, every night, like my phone was on loud next to my bed. Like I was like waking up throughout the night, checking it because I was thinking, oh gosh, I really honestly, we need to get over to Surrey in a hurry.
Surrey in a hurry. Yeah, I remember your phones were on loud like every night. So funny, isn't it? Anyway, so rang the midwife. She was like, okay, it's fine. I'm going to monitor you for the next 24 hours. She was like, obviously it's all starting to happen now. She was like, have you had a contraction? I was like, no, not yet. She was like, just try and get some rest. Obviously that's like famous last words. When you know that your waters have broke,
you don't.
You're just not going to rest. Anyway, so I went upstairs and I had a shower and I was like, right, have a shower, try and relax, get into bed. And I really did try, but this was like, midnight now, 11 o'clock at night. I was like, there's no way. I was literally laying there wide awake thinking, this baby's coming. It's happening. It was so funny. Before I got into bed and laid down, I think I told you this, I'd gone downstairs to just make myself a cup of tea and Paul was unboxing a box in the lounge. Like he was putting out all these photo frames. It was like he had this like nervous energy, didn't know what to do. He was basically... I came downstairs and I went, what are you doing? He went, I don't know.
And then
he smashed a mug.
That was it, when he smashed. That's very unlike Paul.
he was unstacking the dishwasher, smashed a mug. He just didn't know what to do. It was like all over, but it was so funny. I was like, look, why don't you just blow up the pool? I was like, you get the pool blown up, at least that's one job done. Anyway, so I think I called you, didn't I? I was like, look, the waters are broke. I'm going to rest. Just stay by your phones. Anyway, so... skipping forward a little bit, I did come downstairs. I couldn't rest. I put on, what did I watch? The new Bridgerton. You don't watch Bridgerton, do you?
No, yeah.
So I hadn't watched any of the new series, and I thought, do you know what? I'll put this on. It's an easy watch. It's quite nice to. Anyway, so I put that on, and then I started feeling the contractions coming. This must have been about 2/3 in the morning. But you know that those really mild ones, they're like little period pains, so you can't.
But you
really
almost
count.
forget because you always think. Like when they're painful, you think, "Oh, this is it," but then you forget, don't you? Actually, what is actually
what's
it?
about to come? Yeah. So skipping forward from that, I started feeling the period pains. I got pull up and rang Billie and Mum, but I can't really say that my established labour was until pretty much when you and Mum got there. That was about 3:30, was it?
Yeah.
No, 5.
5. We got to you about 5.
Sorry, yeah. Billie and Mum got to me about 5-ish. I think Gaynor got there about an hour after that. I can't remember. But then I had him at 8:20. So realistically, that labour at its sort of, I kind of don't think you can count labour from when you have those period pains, because you're not in any kind of pain, or you're just sort of like. So really, no one answered the door
I
to
think
you
like
both.
you're in labour, aren't you? But you're not in like, is it called active labour or
Established
labour?
So really, when you got to me at about 5-ish, I had him at 8:20. It was about 3.5 hours, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Until I had the. But when I was in labour, it did feel longer. Like obviously, when I look back at it, I'm like, really, when you got there, I answered the door. I was fine. Do you remember? I was like,
and it
I'm
went,
fine.
it escalated. That's what happens, though, isn't it?
It was so intense because obviously I didn't want to sit down. Like I thought, I'm going to stay on my feet the whole time. I was pacing around the kitchen, wasn't I? Just pacing. Went outside a couple of times. I had the relaxation music on the whole time.
You lit a candle. We made some toast. We had tea.
Yeah.
And then the kids. Well, Rosie was up, wasn't she, when we got there?
Rosie was up when you got there. Yeah.
And then Paul woke up about an hour after that, didn't he? Little Paul.
Yeah. With a home birth, it's like there's this real like calm, relaxing feeling. Like obviously your family are there, you're in your own surroundings. The kids were there, and I really wasn't sure about, because all everyone kept asking me was, "Are you going to have Paul and Rosie there?" And I was like, "Yeah," but I'm not sure what the plan is. Like I didn't really know what the plan was with Paul and Rosie, but they were amazing, wasn't they? They were
So good. Like
they were just.
They didn't. I mean, obviously they knew that what was happening, but there was no drama. There was no tears. Like, I remember at one point, I'd say the last half an hour before,
when I was getting the noises were getting really loud.
And me and Rosie was like, "Auntie, come in here," and we was in the playroom, which is obviously next to the kitchen, and Rosie said to me, "I don't like those noises that Mummy's making." And I said, and I went, what I did is I tried to make it like.
Did you do an impression of me or something?
I went, "Oh my goodness!" I went, "She sounds like a cow, doesn't she?" and she looked at me and started laughing. Like I was just trying to really make it all like funny and happy, and obviously I knew it was not funny for you, but I was trying to keep it light-hearted. And it was, I mean, the kids were incredible, because I think I asked you loads, like, "Samantha, what are you going to do with Paul and Rosie?" Like, I mean, I obviously, none of us knew how they was going to react, but they
was in, then they was out on the trampoline, and they was back in, and there was
they was just normal. They was just playing. They didn't behave any differently to what they normally would.
And then obviously taking it back a little bit. So I was pacing around, wasn't I? And I was, then obviously they were getting, the contractions were getting stronger. So like I was putting all of my support onto Paul. Like I was holding him, I was squeezing his neck, I was hanging off him. And like obviously as it was getting more painful, I was like, right, I think I want to get in the water. So originally I thought, I'm going to have another water birth like I did with Rosie. Anyway, I got in the water and I just couldn't get comfortable, could I? How long was I even in there?
Agitated.
20 minutes? I don't even
I think you was probably in there for about 45 minutes in the end.
Oh, really?
Was like, just used, and then you was really hot, and then
Do you know what? I was hot. Yeah, I was like, I need to get out. I was like, I feel really, really hot. Anyway, so from the point I got out of the water pool, that's when it all happened, didn't it? So I was like, I was standing up. I was standing up in the corner of the kitchen, of all places in the house. I was like stood in like the corner. The telly was on the wall.
Yeah, it was like the
we're
smallest corner
wedged,
of the kitchen because there was a sofa there as
well. Wedged in. The midwife was on the floor with like the mirror or whatever she was doing, like ready to catch the baby. And I had all of my, so Paul was behind me here. I had all of my body weight on Paul, and I basically was standing up, but like squatting a little bit, wasn't I?
Yeah, you was like squatting, but stood up, and Paul had his arms hooked under your arms.
Yeah, and I was
but
like this.
you was pushing down, obviously, like because you're, you know, that's the
gravity,
what you wanted to do.
So I was like, must have been pulling him.
Paul, I think afterwards he said his arms.
Yeah, no, like it was really funny. So like a few days after, Paul was like, "Oh, my whole body's still aching," and I was like, "Your body's aching."
Yeah. How do you think I feel? But then you had Mum and Gaynor were on the sofa next to you. Paul and Rosie were on the floor. Like, cool, like looking on. Everyone was obviously looking kind of down underneath because your position, like the baby was coming out that way. I was across the birthing. Bear in mind with this big birthing pool as well in the way. That was we couldn't have all been in a smaller part of the house. And I was then because Samantha wanted me to film the birth, so I was then across the birthing pool, leant over with my phone, trying to video the whole thing and watch it, and you know, just trying to monitor everything that was going on.
In hindsight, I don't know if the filming's any good, really. Not your filming. I mean, when you watch it back, I was like,
it's quite intense.
The noises. But then when you watch it back, because when you're sort of in labour and you're in that like that kind of when it's really, really intense established labour, you can't think about anything else apart from you're trying to concentrate on your contractions and babies coming out. Like, and I remember in between the contractions, all I kept thinking was, just make sure Paul and Rosie were. So, do you remember, like in between contractions, I was sort of looking at them, smiling or giving them a little kiss. They were cuddling me and stuff like that. But the noises, like honestly, and obviously when you have a home birth, for those of you that don't know, you can't have any pain relief. Obviously, you can have, if you wanted to, you can have a bit of gas and air. But so it's those noises that I was making. That was my pain relief.
That
like,
was
it's like
a noise from within. I think so many women will relate to this. Like, it's like a mooing.
Yeah.
It's like a noise that you'll never ever make any other time in your life, apart from when you're in labour.
And when I listen back, I'm like, oh my God, for fuck's sake. You know, like when you just cringe at yourself. But I was like, the noises. But when I think back in that precise moment when I was getting louder and louder, it was because that was like releasing pain. It was my pain relief.
That was your like letting it all like move.
Yeah, exactly. But can I just say,
it is bizarre, isn't it? Because that noise you'll never be able to make that noise again, even if you tried.
No, and it's like the
crazy.
But honestly, I think that the intense bit at the end with the contractions actually is more painful than pushing the baby out.
Yeah.
I honestly do think that.
I think
because it's that pain and that ache, but then towards the end it speeds up so quick that you don't get the gap in between. So that's what it's so intense, you know. So although it was a quick labour and it was amazing, and I'm not faulting it because I'm all about positive birth stories, man, that was intense. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, there's no getting away from it, is there? It's a painful, very painful experience. And the weirdest thing is obviously, you know, you're in pain is so intense, and I think it's probably still quite fresh in your mind now. But then obviously when as soon as the baby is here and like laying on you, that pain goes. Obviously you feel very uncomfortable down there, and afterwards it takes time to heal. But it's crazy how that the baby's here and it's them, you know, like them surges, they're gone.
They're just gone. I mean, well, we was forgetting actually that I had to give birth to the placenta.
Oh yeah. Oh God, that's weird.
Obviously, when I had the baby, pushed the baby out, and I was basically standing and I was squatting, wasn't I? Baby come out and straight onto my chest. We're all in this corner of the kitchen. I was sort of like shocked. But at this point, and then I'm laying there, it must have been about 10 or 15 seconds, and I'm thinking, well, what is it? Because the plan was for little Paul to tell me if it was a boy or a girl. So anyway, but there was a bit of a break, wasn't there, like a pause, and then I was like, what is it? And then Paul was trying to look because obviously it's all going on, there's calls, and you know, and then he was like, it's a boy, and then we all just screamed, didn't we?
It was so amazing.
It was just amazing. Like, I know that, look, giving birth is intense and everything else that comes with it. But then as soon as that baby's born, that you just cannot describe. I mean, obviously you was there, you sit, like, you can't describe it, can you? It's just
there's
the best
just
thing
no
in the world.
feeling like it, is there? It is just
No.
So
Bringing life into the world.
And you was amazing in labour. Like, I mean, I've said it to you already, but you were so good. And I think the best thing what you done is you kept on your feet for as much as you could. You didn't lay on your back. You didn't, like, you know, laying down. It is like gravity took its, like, like,
and it's funny because it was funny how I couldn't get comfortable in the birthing pool and how each birth and pregnancy is different. Like, I thought, I'm gonna have another water birth. I just didn't want to be in the water. I didn't want the water on my skin. Like, I wanted to get out. You know, it's funny how everything's kind of, you have all different births. I just Anyway, so then the placenta. So for those of you who don't know, I had my placenta made into like tablets, gummies, body oil. I had the full works.
Are you still taking them?
Yeah, I've still got them.
Oh, okay.
So and the tincture. So you take them like more intense in the first couple of weeks, and then you can drop down the dosage to like 2 a day. So I was doing 6 a day in the beginning. And then I've still got the gummies left and the tincture that you put in the water. But honestly, it was amazing. Anyway, so gave birth, had the baby, all lovely, and then obviously Big Paul took the baby, and she's that midwife was like, "Are you ready to give birth to the placenta?" And I was like, "No, you just forget, don't you? You're just like,
oh, not another."
Anyway, so I went and sat on the toilet, didn't I? And she put like this
nappy pad,
like they're almost like the puppy pad things. Aren't
yeah,
they?
it was like a big pad. She put it under the toilet seat to catch the placenta.
To catch the placenta. So I was sitting there. How long do you reckon I was there for? About 20 minutes?
You was there for about 20 minutes, yeah.
And then all of a sudden I had the urge to push again. So I wasn't in any pain when I was sitting there. I was just like, do you remember I was like, I need sugar? And I had a Coke. And I never drink Coke. And I'm sitting there. I've got the picture on my phone. Oh, it's terrible. Mum's in there with me. I've got a Coke in my hand. I'm like, just giving birth. And I was like, oh. Anyway, I remember I got the urge to push again. And then obviously the placenta just came out. It was massive, wasn't it?
It was huge. We was all gathered. That placenta was on your kitchen side, right? On this big nappy pad, and we was all gathered around it. And the midwife was like, she was like inspecting it, like showing us what was what, and then like,
and then she got the cord and made a love heart out of the cord. And she was like, look at that.
Yeah, she made a love heart with a cord,
didn't she? Oh, yeah, I remember because I was laying on the sofa because I was like literally gonzoed, and I could remember looking up and all you were standing around my placenta.
Yeah,
like, ooh,
we was all like inspecting
it. Anyways, that got picked up, didn't it? They can't pick it up, so you put it straight into a freezer box that you've already pre-frozen in the house. Then they take that away and then bring back the pills and stuff. But I mean, if you're for it, people find that really weird or they don't. But honestly, if you don't find that weird, do it. Like, honestly, I was going to say to you have to do it because I know that I didn't have any pain relief, so that kind of my recovery was quick. But I do think that the placenta tablets
really helped. Yeah,
because they do say it helps with your recovery.
Do you know what I was going to say? About a week after, when I come back round again to see you had a water bottle on the side, and I was drinking out of it, and you went, that's got my tincture in it, and it was like your placenta juice. And I was like, what? I've just drunk your placenta juice. And you was like, that's all right, it's really good for you.
No, to be fair, it sounds worse than what it is. Placenta juice, they like soak it in alcohol, they make it into a tincture. But yeah, it tastes like, do you know what though, when I first got it, I wasn't sure what to do with that, so I was putting little caps of it, and I was doing this, and I was like, and I actually was drinking basically a shot of vodka.
Oh my god!
So I was thinking,
that's what's got you through the first few weeks.
Yeah, exactly. But no, you have to add it to the water, and it's like really diluted, so you wouldn't have tasted it any different, did you?
No, I didn't taste anything.
That's good for you. It doesn't matter. And then we was all just laying about, wasn't we? That's what's so lovely about a home birth. Like,
yeah.
I mean, look, it's not for everybody, but if you are low risk and you are contemplating, just speak to your midwives about it, because honestly, it's such a lovely experience, and you get to be with all your family, you get to go straight into your own bed. There's no. It's just lovely. I mean, you've been at both Rosie and Edward now, and
It is amazing, and it definitely, I think when you see it and and you like, I was speaking to the midwife, I was asking her so many questions about home births, and because obviously, like naturally, Samantha is more of a calmer person than me. I'm more of a worrier. I panic more. I'm more, I get more irate about everything. So when I was chatting with her about it, and obviously seeing now 2 of your home births, I think actually that is amazing. Like I think I would definitely consider if I'm like, I've had 2 uncomplicated births as well.
Exactly.
Naturally, in hospital. So she was like, you could definitely do it. So
You could definitely 100% do it in your new home, and then I get to be there, because if you have a hospital birth, I won't be able to be there.
Well, the other 2 you have been, but I think the rules changed.
I don't know. I just think that now, since everything that went on in COVID times, I reckon they're really strict with 2 people.
Yeah, because
unless
we
you can
was
swap
really
Greg
lucky.
out. Swap Greg out for me.
I think Greg would probably be grateful for the break. But anyway, it was amazing. Like literally afterwards, remember, like you had a shower.
Yep.
You had some tea and toast. Tea and toast. Can we talk about the tea and toast after you've given birth?
So good.
There is nothing better in the world than that tea and the toast.
I had a really sugary tea, toast with loads of butter, and it's just, I don't know why. It's so good. And I remember when I had little Paul in hospital, and they brought that in for me as well, and it's just something so nice about it. Comforting.
You just cannot. There's nothing like it. Nothing can ever replace that first cup of tea and toast that you have after you give. Like, I'm actually excited for it.
Excited for that moment where you can have your tea and toast and you've got your baby in your arms. What was I going to say? No, it's really funny because I was looking back through pictures and videos, because although he's 8 weeks now and it's only 8 weeks ago, it's been quite intense. Like, so everything's a bit of a blur, but I've got all the pictures and all the memories on my phone. So like every now and then I have a little like flick through back to when he was born, and there's a video, and it's really funny. We're all in the bed. So it's me, Edward, Rosie, little Paul, Big Paul and Gaynor must have been downstairs. You and Mum, and you and Mum are out for the count. So, but I remember that. I remember all laying in the bed.
I remember we all laid up there and went to sleep.
And I think we went to see. I think like everyone just dozed off for a little bit, but it's just all Charlie in the Chocolate Factory.
You need to send me that. It's really funny.
And I zoom in, so I'm filming it because I must have like sort of woken. I'm zooming on you, and you're laying on the end of the bed like this, and so is Mum.
It's been a long night for us too.
For the birthing partners.
Oh, don't. No, it was absolutely incredible, amazing.
It was amazing. I don't know, like, so from you, because I can't really work it out, because Paul thinks I was amazing. Like, I feel like I thought with this 3rd baby at home, after how my labour was with Rosie, I thought this would be not easier, because it's not easy, but I just thought I had it in the bag. I was like, I thought I was going to have all my breathing in control, but Paul was like, you did, but there was something about me that felt like I sort of lost control at the end with my breathing, and it was like all I just
think like in the end, I think maybe what threw you is that you, in your head, in your plan, you was going to have him in the birthing pool, and you didn't. And I think because you then got out, I think then that probably made you feel a bit disorientated, and then there was a part where when Paul was holding you, you were squatting in that corner, and the midwife was trying to hoist your bum up, because she went at one point, Sam, she was like, Sam, now lift your bottom up or you're going to sit on your baby. And it was just all going on, like there was like it was just crazy.
You're gonna sit on your baby. It's like
because where you was, and then I see Paul like hoist you up even more, like. But obviously the force of you pushing down and
I'm sorry, there's nothing glamorous about pregnancy. When I look back at that video, nothing. I'm sorry, but that fucking nightie you got me was so ugly. She stitched me up big time. She bought me a nightie.
I queued up in Primark. Or was it Primark or Mark?
I think it's Mark. You can wear this night. You're having this nightie.
Hand it down.
We can reuse it. Sustainability. You can have this nightie for your pregnancy, your birth.
Oh my god, no! And it was the length as well. It was like a midi nightie.
Yeah, it was like a midi nightie with flowers on it, straps. Like you've got this big massive bump. Like everything looks like. Oh my gosh.
No, I remember after when you when you looked look back at the photos and you text me one day and you was like, I can't even watch me in that birthing pool in that nightie.
Honestly, I can't. It's like I wasn't ready at that point as well to even. But you either laugh or you cry. And me and Paul, there's this video right where I'm in the nightie, but obviously I haven't got any knickers on because it's like Labour Day. Yeah. I'm standing up and my hips or my lower back must have been really hurting me, and I wanted Paul to massage me, but this is all on video. You must have filmed it. So I'm sort of like hunched and bent over, and Paul's like massaging. My hips look massive. Did they just expand in the birth or something?
I think it was the unflattering nightie.
Me and Paul watching the video, and you either laugh or you cry. I was crying with laughter at like good. Paul massaging like my hips in this nightie, and I'm like, oh.
There was one part. I mean, like you were so good. You didn't get stroppy or anything with anyone, because sometimes in labour. Like I've had it with my last 2 labours with Greg. They do something, it really annoys you, or you smell something and everything aggravates you. Paul went to the toilet, but at that point he went to the toilet.
Yes, I remember
you wanted him to rub your back or something. And
I wanted to hold him because Mum was like, "I'll hold you," but I don't know.
You
like,
needed something
hurt
like
Mum.
strong, like bit.
Yeah.
And he come downstairs and you went, "Where have you been?" And he was like, "I've just been to the toilet." And he was like, "I needed you here." And me and Mum was like, oh.
No, I remember because that was a real intense part of labour as well.
Yeah.
And with him, he's like this big dense man, and I feel like I really get grip on him, put all my pain onto him. And I think twice, did he go to the toilet twice throughout the labour?
Twice. It was almost like, how dare you go to the toilet? You hold it until this baby's here.
Yeah, you hold it in. But no.
Isn't it amazing though? Like we can sit here, chat, laugh, like reminisce, like obviously when you're in that moment it's so intense, isn't it? So but it's so nice to sit here now and
just exactly, and like I do feel really lucky, but my recovery was so quick. And obviously look, I done 2 whole... I didn't leave the house for 2 weeks, did I? No. I done 2 whole weeks at home. I didn't even, go for a walk or go to the park. Obviously, went out for fresh air in the garden and stuff, but I just was in my little nest at home with the kids, with the baby, bonding with the baby. You're all over the place anyway. You're tired. You've got milk everywhere. You're still you're still having to wear the pads. That's something that people don't tell you all the time, do they? Like, you literally wear pads for a month after.
Or what about tell everyone the tip with the jug of water?
Yes, exactly.
That was a really
good tip, wasn't it, from my midwife? So when you have a baby, obviously you're going to be sore down below, and whether even if you don't have stitches, if you tear, even if nothing like that happens, it's still really stingy, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
when you go to the toilet, like when,
so when you go to the toilet, it's like I don't know, whether wee's acidic or whatever, I don't know, like it really stings, and it's like the last thing that you want, and you end up getting frightened to go to the toilet, don't you?
You do.
You don't want it to sting so much. Anyway, the midwife's like, well, no, just get a jug of warm water, and every time you go to the toilet, just as you wee, pour the water as well, like obviously like on your nunny as you wee. And it was the best tip ever, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like honestly, I was saying to these, I was like, you don't feel any stinging whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, little tip.
Because I remember that feeling that with Nelly, I actually had to have stitches. With Arthur, I just grazed. So but I remember that feeling that the wee, when you went to the toilet, it was like burning sting, and with everything else going on down there anyway, repairing itself,
it's just something you don't want.
It was horrendous, and like actually, it's so simple, isn't it? But it's
so simple,
helps.
And it's literally genius, guys. So just have, when you have your baby, have just like the jug or whatever, next to the toilets. Every time you go to the wee, just put some warm water in it, chuck it down with your wee at the same time, like perfect. Hey guys, so it's that time to hear from one of our sponsors.
Mamph, have you heard of Athletic Greens?
Yes, everyone is always talking about it at the moment. It's a daily nutrition supplement, isn't it?
Yes, so I've loved taking AG1. It's been so easy. You just get up in the morning, have 1 scoop in a glass of water, and it gives me all the important vitamins and minerals I need. I have better energy, better gut health, and it actually tastes really nice.
That's so good. And do you know what I love about this? You don't have to faff and take loads of different supplements. You can just do it all in one go.
AG1 is a small habit that you can do every single day and take great care of yourself. It even supports better sleep quality and recovery.
Sleep quality, that's what I need right now. Yeah, I was actually reading the reviews myself, and Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews. Like, that's incredible.
That is amazing. So we have a treat for you all. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Sam and Billie.
And again, that is athleticgreens.com/Sam and Billie to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
And don't forget, if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, always get advice from a doctor or medical professional before taking any supplement.
Well, obviously, I feel like with you, I mean, you're pregnant. I can't believe it. It's so exciting. Yeah. I feel like we need to dedicate a whole episode to your pregnancy because we've just gone on and on today about, obviously, the birth, which I know people wanted to know about.
There's so much to talk about because we've
still
had some
so
time
much.
off. So much. Isn't it weird? Like the last time we was on our podcast together, you was pregnant, about to give birth.
Yeah.
And now...
Was you pregnant? I think you was.
Yeah. Of course I was.
You was actually pregnant when we done the last episode. I didn't know though.
Yeah,
you would have been. I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know at that point though, guys.
No one knew.
No one knew. So yeah, so
I don't even know if I knew. No, I think I must have known. Yeah, I think I must have just found out. But and now, yeah, now we're going through it all again with me. But obviously, I suppose. It's a funny one, isn't it? Because we've had so many episodes recorded and pregnancy updates and stuff, but people might be a little bit over it now. So
no one's ever over a pregnancy story.
We'll update you of my pregnancy throughout the shows, and like you say, we could do another episode and chat about.
No, I've got so many questions to ask you because obviously, guys, Billie told me, where was I? It was when you come over. We went to the fun fair that day.
Yes.
Really surprised me. Oh, it was amazing. I honestly didn't expect it. I kind of knew throughout my pregnancy. I was like, I reckon Billie and Greg definitely want another one now because it's so close to home. Like, you know, and I remember you being like, oh yeah, I do think I actually do want another one. But
I just was getting to the point. Like I've been talking about it now, and I you know. When you mention one thing in the press or you get asked one question, that's it. That question reoccurs all the time. There was a point, actually, like towards the end of last year, where I said to Xanthi, my management, I was like, can we just please, any interviews I do, I don't want to be asked about baby number 3, because I was sort of getting a little bit like, if I'm not doing it just yet, I don't want to keep being asked about it.
So much
It's
pressure.
Boring.
That's what I get with the wedding. When are you going to get married?
I feel your pain. Like, so, and then obviously... After Christmas, I just thought, right, do you know what? I'm going to have my coil removed. And I just thought, it's now or never. And, you know, you never know how these things are going to go, do you? Either, like, you don't know if you're, you know, going to fall
like how long it will take
soon,
to
how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
You just don't know. So in my head, I thought, I hope it happens. I hope I fall pregnant this year. And then I thought, if I don't, then obviously... maybe rethink the situation, because obviously Nellie's going to be 8 on Saturday, which is crazy.
Can't believe she's going to be 8.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. And Arthur's 5. And I started to think I didn't want too much more of a bigger gap, although this gap is, you know, the timing is so right for us now. We're going to be moving soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's happened at the right time.
It definitely has, because our babies are going to be how many
7 months?
7 months apart.
They're going to be the closest out of all of them, in age.
Oh, I can't wait. Like mum just can't believe it, can she?
She's gone from 4 to 6 grandchildren in 1 year.
The question is, will we have any more? That's all I keep getting asked now.
What do you think? I mean, I personally, I think 3 will be a nice number for me.
So... having had Edward, and in those first couple of months, I was like, whoa, this is a game changer. Going from 2 to 3, even though the kids are at school, the logistics, you know, the getting up, the school run, the getting ready, the food, I know that I'm breastfeeding Edward, but like, you know, so it's more demanding on me, but just all of it, you know, trying to adjust to it all. I was thinking, how do people do when they have like 4 under 4 and stuff like that? Anyway, so at first I was like, I think 3 probably is enough, but straight away Paul was like, we've got to have a 4th. And I was like, oh, I don't know. But then now he's like settled in, and I'm like, I've got this. Yeah, I can juggle the 3 now. Maybe I would have a 4th, but I just don't know.
Oh
we haven't hit toddler stages yet, have we? So
well, this is it. I think this is like once you're through that first, like the age that Edward's at now. This is so lovely for like the next year or so, and then you get the crawling, the walking, the toddler.
Yeah,
it's all different.
So we haven't
stages,
hit that yet, so we'll see. We'll see how we get on.
See how you get on. Give us an update on what life is like now with 3 children. I know obviously you're still very early stages.
So it is still early stages, but I do think, and I obviously told you when I see you recently, this last kind of week, I feel like we're through the other end. That's the right way to say it. Like, so with Edward, my journey has been different with Paul and Rosie. So like, obviously, as everyone knows, I breastfed Paul and Rosie. It's always been what I wanted to do. It really came easy and naturally to me, and it just worked for me, and that's what I wanted to do. So obviously I wanted the same for Edward. So Edward's latch actually wasn't very strong. So the whole time I've been feeding Edward, I've been having to support his head and my boob like the whole time, because he kind of comes on and off. So those first few weeks he was sort of like on and off the boob, which means he was taking in air, and he was getting wind. So like that kind of like intense kind of like shout out and the crying and stuff. And I never had that with Paul and Rosie. And they do say, oh, you know, you don't have to burp a breastfed baby, but that statement's not actually true, because with Edward, you know, the first few weeks his latch wasn't very strong, so he was taking air in. Anyway, so I was trying to deal with that, and that was all new to me. So I was like, you know, this is new, trying to deal with like a windy baby. So it was quite intense. And then some, you know, it's like some days are amazing and they sleep all day and you're like, wow, this is lovely. And then other days they're awake all day, but not just awake, just like awake and kind of like unsettled. Niggly, yeah. So, I mean, it's just to be expected. It's a newborn. And I think sometimes like, maybe I'm like, I think I forgot, because it's hard. Like where I was so sort of out of it with Paul and Rosie, you know, no nappies. They're just like little mini adults, you know, and then you go back to the newborn stage, and honestly you do forget how demanding they are in that first sort of like month.
Yeah, of course. And they're like I remember, I think me, you and Mum said this before, they're little time wasters. Like literally, honestly, you could seriously just waste time, or not, it's not, I don't mean it like that, but it's like you could just, even if you're just looking at them or cuddling them, but actually you know,
take that time, yeah.
And you've got, and you know, obviously it's very different as well when you've got other children, as you know as well. But that time when like the other 2 are at school and you've got that time, you do just want to like cuddle them and look at them, and I don't know, it's like such a bubble, isn't it? And that time is, you'll never ever get that small tiny newborn baby time back, do you? It's like,
honestly won't, guys. And going back to what Billy's saying as well, like he's 8 weeks now almost, and he still smells of a baby, but the newborn baby smell has gone. Yeah, like you don't get that smell for very long, and it's just all those little things, and you think actually, if you can just take a few months with you and your baby and just enjoy it, because the newborn stage is like, it's a snippet and then it's just gone. Yeah. So I really do, although it has been quite intense with him because the wind and stuff, I looking back now, I'm like, I wouldn't have it any other way. It was just me and him at home, like I had him in my arms basically the whole time. But yeah, I feel it has been nice though this last week, because he just is all of a sudden really settled.
Oh,
you know,
it's
like
so
he just
good, yeah.
just sort of sits up in his pram. I went to the pub the other day and he was just sort of sitting there looking around, making some little noises, and then doing like little signs that he was hungry, had a feed, went back to sleep. And I was like, this is it. This is like, I feel like we're there
You
now.
feel like you've had those first sort of 2 months, like it's adjusting, isn't it? Like
Adjusting,
like
yeah.
a whole new member to your family, like a new baby, like where you,
Exactly.
and also it's like with the other two, then you've got to cope with like mum guilt, because then you feel like your full attention isn't
I was
with
about
them.
to say that, yeah.
I mean, I know obviously, yeah, you've said to me, haven't you, like, oh, I feel
Been so
guilty.
teary.
And
Like I mean, I haven't cried in like probably maybe about a couple of weeks now, but I was really teary when I had Edward, and it wasn't. It was because of poor Rosie. Like I could look at them and cry, but it's I think it's your hormones as well. Like
yeah, so many emotions.
It's such a mixture, and they've been amazing. They're obsessed with him. Like people have probably seen it on my Instagram. They love him, which is lovely, because you don't know whether they're going to be a bit jealous or not, but they haven't. I do think their age is quite good. I think had they'd been younger, then maybe there'd be a bit of jealousy, but they've been amazing. So I can't fault that or complain there, but I don't know, you just feel sorry for them. You feel sorry for your other children because they're not getting 100% you what they used to.
It's just such a natural feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you can't, no matter how, like I said to you, I was like, Samantha, like in a couple of months' time, the baby's you're gonna be so much more settled. This is just the time. And you was like, I know, but I just can't help it. And that's the thing, no matter how many people say to you, like, oh, it's only for this short space of time, you've got to be with the baby all the time. Like, it's a natural motherly,
it really is,
feeling, instinct. But even like you say now, Edward's 8 weeks, like, and everything feels settled.
Yeah, and I look back now, and it's like it's been a whirlwind, but I just. Like I want to kind of like say it to other mums that are going through the same thing as me now: the sleepless nights, the deprivation, the tip, you're upset, all this kind of stuff, and it just, I know it's really hard to say enjoy it, because when you're in it, it's tough.
Hard,
but it does get so much easier and it's so much better. Then you look back at the newborn stage, at the baby, and you're like, oh my god, they were so tiny. Like when I look back at him when he was first born to now, them first few days as well, and they're like little tiny babies. But just try it and enjoy it, and just know that there is so much, you'll be out of it in a couple of weeks and it'll all settle in.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
That's exactly it. But anyway, I hope everyone loved my birth story. I feel like throughout the next couple of months there'll be like things that I forget that I just want to like throw back out there, because so much has happened in the last sort of 8 weeks, hasn't it, since we've been off. So
we've got
you in
as each episode rolls out, there'll just be more and more to chat about as well, won't there?
Exactly, yeah.
More updates. Yeah.
And we haven't got time for Ask Us Anything, but we were thinking about doing an Ask Us Anything special episode. So you can ask me anything and Billie anything. And yeah, we should do that. It'd be good, won't it? So,
yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. It was such a great episode, and it's so good to be back as well.
Yes, so good to be back.
Chatting with my sister. Don't forget that you can watch us on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel. And yeah, we'll see you next week for another episode. Bye,
Thanks, everyone. Bye.